Coming up on Look Today, well, as the FCC prepares to vote on whether or not it will deregulate the broadband industry, civic leaders and concerned citizens in our community are speaking out. I've got details. Plus, we've got more developments concerning the local manufacturing workforce issue in Washington County. And last but not least, 21st Congressional District Constituents demonstrated yesterday outside Elise Stefanik's office in Glens Falls. I've got those details. All ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson, this is Look Today. Well, in tonight's program I sit down with Jonathan Newell, Executive Director of the Strand Theater in Hudson Falls, and he's here to give us updates on the restoration of that historic theater as well as upcoming exciting programming events. I also sit down with Doug Beatty, Supervisor at Large, Queensbury. He's here to give us updates on important issues in Warren County. This is part 2 of my interview with him. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. What a story. In our lead, as the FCC prepares to vote on whether or not it will deregulate the broadband industry, civic leaders and concerned citizens in our very own communities are speaking out. Now, the vote's going to take place in Washington, December 14. Now, that's a week from today. Now, the outcome, by the way, will determine whether the FCC repeals something called net neutrality rules. Now, in short, net neutrality means all online content is currently being treated equally, while deregulation would allow companies such as these wireless companies, such as Verizon, could be Comcast, could be AT&T, to establish fast and slow lanes for transferring information online. Now, as you can guess, this could favor certain types of content over others. Well, citizens all over the country are protesting in front of Verizon wireless retail stores, for example. Now, they're targeting Verizon because the current chair of the FCC is a lawyer, and he did represent Verizon interests in the past. Well, the Saratoga Springs City Council, along with over 90 other municipalities and towns around the country, signed a letter to the FCC chairman. Well, we're one of them, so we spoke to Mayor Joanne Yepsen of Saratoga about this.
Advocacy group for innovation and technology out of the Boston area is actually sending the letter, but they're asking mayors from all over the country to sign the letter in support of commitment to transparency, the free flow of information over the internet, no blocking of lawful websites, no unreasonable discrimination of lawful network traffic, and no paid prioritization.
Now, Commissioner of Finance Michelle Madigan, as you may know, is leading an initiative in Saratoga called Smart City Initiative. Now, this seeks to create more internet connectivity for all Saratogans. So we spoke to the commissioner about this as well.
I see broadband today as a utility. I think many people do. It should be like water and sewer. We should have access to the internet. We should not have these gatekeepers, telling us what we can have access to and how much access we can have.
You know, I encourage everyone to source this out, Google or whatever. It's called net neutrality. Find out what it means, because you may want to reach out to our representatives with your feelings about this. All right, in other news, we've got continuing coverage of a story concerning the local manufacturing workforce in Washington County. Now, as we told you earlier this week, the manufacturing workforce in Washington County is at risk of decreasing in the coming years. The older skilled generations are beginning to retire, and younger workers are leaving the area. Now, this could see a deficit in machinery-related job skills. Now, institutions such as SUNY Adirondack and BOCES are seeking ways to offset this. Well, we spoke to Laura Oswald. She's Director of Economic Development, Washington County.
What we are trying to focus on is, once you understand what your population base consists of, how do you best serve their needs? So workforce in particular As more and more of the workforce age out, we need to pay attention to working with our existing population, creating programs that train existing bodies and match them to existing employers, as well as what is considered traditional economic development, which is attracting new businesses to the area.
Yeah. All right, switching from news to weather. Today saw icy winds. I don't know about you. Everybody's chilled around here. We had overcast skies and temperatures kind of hung in those 30s, low 30s. Let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, let's head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm meteorologist Clarence Poncer with your first look weather update here on Look TV. Let's take a look at synopsis heading into tonight. Cold front making its way through parts of the deep south. High pressure blowing in across much of the Midwest. We're under this trough regime across much of the eastern half of the U.S. and a huge ridge across a portion of the western United States. Here comes a secondary cold front impacting parts of our area. So that's going to mean some snow chances early as you take at regional temperatures only in the 20s throughout much of the Northeast. A little bit more locally, 28 Clifton Park, as well as Saratoga Springs and Boston Spa. For Edward, only 27. So generally upper 20s will be the regime across the Capital District, with wind chills potentially down to the lower to mid 20s. 26 in Glens Falls, New York. Let's take a look. We'll have some partly cloudy skies late, not before a possible isolated evening snow chance. Then we'll see the sunshine returning, but only highs in the mid 30s, which is about typical for this time of year. So nothing out of the ordinary. Mostly sunny as you walk out the door, with upper 20s to around 30, wind chills lower 20s. And as we take a look at the extended forecast, a nice weekend for the first half. It's 36 with sunshine on Saturday. Make sure you bundle up. Cool down to 22 and then 30% chance of isolated snow on Sunday. We do have a weather system that could come by our area, so that's going to increase the snow chances somewhat. Monday, we'll see mainly cloudy skies, 35. Then we'll see a 50% chance of snow. 32 the afternoon high, more low 21. Winds generally out of the north, but we'll pinpoint the details as we get closer. That's a look, the first look weather update. I'm meteorologist Clarence Poncer. Now I'll send it back to you, Jesse.
Thanks, Clarence. All right, back to the news. Well, 21st Congressional District constituents demonstrated outside Representative Elise Stefanik's office in Glens Falls yesterday. Well, the demonstrators, in the spirit of the Christmas season, called for Congress to restore health care funding. Now, specifically, they want to renew the funding for something called the Children's Health Insurance Program. This protects currently 9 million children and pregnant women. Well, we were at the demonstration and we spoke to Ron Deutsch. He's Executive Director of the Fiscal Policy Institute.
When you have a tax cut package that hurts working class New Yorkers and helps very wealthy New Yorkers, there's something very wrong with that kind of tax package. I think we've all learned that trickle-down economics simply doesn't work.
Well, I don't know about you, but Ron there reminds me of somebody else as well. Hey, look, that's democracy in action. Up next, I sit down with Jonathan Newell. He's Executive Director of the Strand Theater in Hudson Falls. He's here to give us updates on the restoration of that historic theater, as well as upcoming exciting programming events. I also sit down with Doug Beatty, Supervisor at Large, Queensbury. He's here to give us updates on important issues in Warren County. This is part 2 of my interview with him. But first, if you see news happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? All you have to do is give us a call on our hotline. The number is 798-8000. Well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. I've got some lookouts for tonight. We thought we'd start tonight reminding you of some of the great events that are happening this weekend so you can plan ahead. Adirondack Ballet Theater is performing the Nutcracker at the Wood Theater in Glens Falls. Tomorrow night at the Bethesda Church in Saratoga, St. Luke's Orchestra is performing the Brandenburg Concertos. Think about that for a second. St. Luke's Orchestra, Brandenburg Concertos, Bethesda Church in Saratoga. That may be an event you want to catch. When John Newell was here, he was telling me about things that are going on at the Strand Theater in Hudson Falls this weekend. Solo piano performance, Brandenburg Concertos, but also a John Lennon tribute. Unfortunately, it's the anniversary of his assassination. Knowing John, that John Lennon tribute is going to be something. And by the way, Senator Schumer will be in Hudson Falls tomorrow. We will be there. He's using Hudson Falls to highlight the need to make certain that historical tax credits are preserved. Hudson Falls being a perfect example of why that is important. And last but not least, tonight on Look TV, it's sold. It's a very popular call-in auction program featuring estate jewelry and coins. Perfect opportunity to find a unique gift for the holiday. All right, that's it. As I said, tonight on Look TV, it's sold. Call-in auction program. Don't forget, tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Good night, everyone.